Very special guest on this edition tonight. You won't want to miss it. We show a whole lot of love as we get ready to bring you all the action. So celebrate with us and Chris, because this one's a winner. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Spro. Great show tonight, as always, but even more special this evening.
Yeah, as you teased a little bit, we will have a visit from assistant varsity wrestling coach Adam Tronson a little bit later. But as we talked about last week, we're almost done. And after this week, just after this show, just one team remaining in action.
One more game, and girls start their section basketball team tomorrow night, Tuesday.
Yeah,
or Wednesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday night.
Correct. Wednesday night, and anything can happen, but they would need to have their best game and get a little bit of luck too, as the number 8 seed to topple a number 1 in the first round of the playoffs. But we will start with the high school wrestling season. It is over in Minnesota. 4 Cardinals finished their year on the sport's biggest stage in last week's state tournament. 3 of the 4 had been to the big show before, and all are seniors, so this was their last chance at glory at the X. Unfortunately, none would claim a crown, but all have plenty to be proud of just by earning their way to the final meet of the year. We start with Captain Keanu Baker at 152. He spent most of the year wrestling at 160, but trimmed down for tournament time. Unfortunately, Baker lost to Chanhassen's Brendan Olafson in the first round, and his tournament was over. Still a great accomplishment for a great leader to end his career. Jared Jokowski is section champion at 132, and he battled hard in the opening round, blanking Kyle Erickson of Hastings 6-0. Jokowski lost his next 2 matches, though, and to wrestlers who would finish in 3rd and 4th place, respectively. Michael Bothwell was the only first-time entrant for the Cardinals. Came out with a vengeance. Great job getting Moorhead's Ben Lean to his back early in the second period of their first match. Bothwell lost to runner-up Luke Dodd in the next round, but his run in the tournament was not over. Moved to 95 pounds. Tyler Berdahl starts his tournament against Nick Graham of St. Cloud Apollo. Throws the headlock on, takes him to the mat. Berdahl will squeeze it tight, get the pin late in the first round. Berdahl won a 6-5 decision in the quarterfinals, lost to the eventual champion in the semis. Both big boys get in the 3rd place matches, though. Bothwell earned 3 straight decisions to get to this match with Mark Baith of Hastings. Great job getting in deep for the single leg, continuing to work for the takedown. Bothwell takes 3rd place with a convincing 7-1 decision. Berdahl got his 2nd pin in the tournament in the consolation semifinals. That put him up in this 3rd place match against Evan Foster of St. Michael Albertville. Rematch of the Section 7 championship. Berdahl won that battle 3-2, and at state he proved it was no fluke. That was the only takedown of the match. Berdahl holds on for the 3-1 victory, gets his arm raised. A great accomplishment for each of these young athletes and this program as a whole.
You know, we talk about what a great program here at Coon Rapids Wrestling has, and how tough the section is, and even how more tough the state is. And kudos to those 4 young men for making it to there and doing as well as they did. They did a great job, and of course all the wrestlers and the staff. Yeah,
and it's always a fun time of year as we get to tournament time. But the wrestling program, we talk about it all the time as being one of those programs here in Coon Rapids that has a consistent tradition of winning and continuing to turn out great athletes and good kids.
Yeah, always a good program, always. Well, the swimming and diving season is over at Coon Rapids, and as no Cardinals were able to make it past last week's section tournament, it's been a difficult season for the Cardinals program with small numbers and very little experience. But this team continued to improve all year long, putting up their best times in the final meet of the year. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite fast enough. Only a couple of highlights to show you from Saturday's finals at Northdale Middle School pool. Senior captain Austin Frazier made it in two different events. Frazier in the consolation finals of the 100 free puts up a good time of 53.09. He will finish 13th place overall. Frazier made the championship finals for the 100 back, which is really his premier event. He puts up his best time of the season of 57.79, but the sections is only good enough for 5th place. He won't advance to the state, but he still finishes his career with an impressive race. You know, we talk about, Joe, all the time that these kids improve their times event to event, and that's all you can ask for with this program.
Well, and it is an individual sport, so you're looking for that individual improvement. And really on a team level, you're also, that's the goal of any program, is to be playing better at the end of the season than they were at the beginning. But these kids showed, and I mean, week in and week out, I was getting emails from Coach Ford talking about how many best times they were getting in each and every event. And that shows something. This is a team that again, only had like 19 kids for varsity and junior varsity. So not a lot of depth to draw from. They didn't have a lot of talent or a lot of experience coming in at the beginning of the year. But those kids who were in the pool and stayed with the program all year gained a lot of experience. And one thing that we can definitely say, Alex Schmidt, just a freshman, turned in some of the best times for the Cardinals at the section meet. And that is good for the future of the program. But like with so many other programs, this is a program that really needs to start to find some way to bring in new blood, get some bigger numbers into the pool, and try to continue to build back to having 40, 50, 60 kids coming in that want to swim, because that is what you're seeing at some of these other premier schools in the conference. And it's hard to compete if you've only got half the numbers. It's
not an easy task to increase those numbers, no doubt, but you got hats off to the team, because with the fact that they didn't have a lot of swimmers, they still increased their times. They still showed up for every meet, and that's all you can ask for. And the younger swimmers really get that experience for next season.
And the other thing, what makes them all winners? Do you know what it is?
What is it? Determination.
Fun.
Could be a lot of things. Absolutely. Like we do. Absolutely.
That's why we're winners every week on Sports Night.
Just ask us.
The boys basketball team opened section playoffs last week as the 8th seed traveling to St. Francis faced the top-seeded Saints. Cardinals knew they were a massive underdog, but they weren't going to roll over and go away. Instead, they went into the game believing they could pull off a huge upset and keep their season alive. Game stays close early. Timmy Wynn had a phenomenal game on this one. Dishes here to Marcus Rask in the corner. He hits the long two, and the score is even. Cardinals working this one end-to-end. Wynn with a nice give and go at center court. He'll take it to the hole with the left hand. Coon Rapids keeping pace midway through the first half. But the Saints are able to start opening up their lead. Hunter Troutman taking this one to the lane, then kicking it out to wide open Sam Scardigli. The three, St. Francis up by 7 at that point. Answer at the other end comes courtesy of Timmy Wynn. He rains down a three-pointer from the corner, doing what he can to keep his Cardinals within striking distance. But St. Francis able to finish the first half with a flurry that would make their lead much more comfortable. Scardigli left alone again on the perimeter, hits another big three. His team on top, 47-27, going to the locker room. Cardinals not really able to threaten in the second half, but what a night for Timmy Wynn. Hits a three with a hand in his face. He led all scorers with 29 points. But by the end, it was all academic for the Saints. Lesson 1, don't leave a good shooter open looks. Another three for Scardigli. He was one of 2 players with 17 for St. Francis. They win easily 92-62.
Yeah, another tough loss for the basketball squad. And unfortunately, things didn't work out the way we wanted to. We couldn't be there to see the game. But, I think Coach O has done a really nice job with the squad. I mean, he's had some things to deal with. He's lost some players throughout the season, lost his 2 big men towards the end of the season, made it very difficult. And, we did that game against Blaine where Ben Shear dominated underneath. And it makes you realize that you need that size underneath the basket. When you don't have that, it's tough to win.
Yeah, and they dealt with injuries. They've dealt with a lack of some numbers, losing some players over the last 5 or 6 years. They have seen a number of very talented players who have either decided to stop playing the game or to play somewhere else. And that's tough for a program to try and continue through. Those players that did come out, though, impressive the way that guys like Peyton Foy and definitely Timmy Wynn finished the season. Wynn tried to lift that team onto his shoulders and take them in this final game. 29 points, a great way to finish his high school year.
Without a doubt. Timmy did a nice job, and as you mentioned, Peyton Foy, and there's some younger players. You've got a lot of sophomores on that team that only can get better over the offseason and develop for next year. And again, the system is there. Coach O, I think, obviously has a good grasp on what he wants to do.
And got to love his enthusiasm.
Yes.
Only one who rivals it is Howie Shapiro.
Yeah, what can I say?
There's a look. Blaine gets beat in the upset. Duluth East knocking off the 4-seed 60-53. Cambridge pulled off an upset, a 1-pointer over Forest Lake 52-51, and St. Francis the top seeds advance to that next round.
Well, the girls' basketball team is the last in action for the winter season, and they're up for a mighty challenge as the section tournament starts on Wednesday. Last week, the Cardinals finished the regular season starting with a visit from the conference-leading Elk River Elks. It didn't take too long for the Elks to jump to a big lead, and they never looked back on their way to a convincing victory. It was senior night at the field house, and the Cardinals were all smiles before tip-off. But the Elks came out and took control from the opening possession. Very impressive movement by this ball club, working it inside and out. Abby Scheid finishing this one, plus the foul. Elk River built their lead into double digits in the first few minutes, and they just kept pouring it on. Gabby Hack hits from 3 from the corner, one of 5 three-pointers in the first half for the Elks. Meanwhile, the Cardinals had just 4 baskets in the first half. Marina Nyberg hit the 3 with this long 2 late in the half. But by this point, the deficit was more than 30 points. The other 2 field goals came from fellow sophomore Kaylee Porsche, including the pretty little scoop. But Elk River leads 49-15. Nice shot underneath. And things got only worse in the second. Elk River opens the half with a 20-0 run. It was more than 6 minutes into the half before the Cardinals scored. Elks playing like a champion, just cruising past the Cardinals with running time the last 9 minutes. And they win easily by a score of 81-23. Tough game. Elk River was so impressive from start to finish, and Cardinals weren't hitting shots. Cardinals were turning the ball over too much, and it's tough to compete when you're playing a team that good.
Yeah, the Elks are definitely an impressive team, and they were firing on all cylinders. But again, you're looking at a Coon Rapids program that's very young. They do have some talent, but it's young talent. The seniors, there's some good players that they're going to lose in that senior group. But you know those sophomores, especially Porish, Nyberg, Wilkins, have played a lot of minutes, not only this year but last year. So continuing to improve, and we've talked about it for a number of different sports. Consistency is key, and keeping composure, and that's one thing. And I know Coach Peterson has talked about it a little bit as well. They tend to lose their composure and get a little bit antsy when they get behind.
They do,
and start panicking a little bit too early, and that's something that you really can't do, especially against a team like Elk River.
Well, and young players sometimes have a tendency to force things, and we saw a lot of that, especially against Elk River, just forcing turnovers, forcing passes to where teammates were not, and that's something comes with a little more experience, but that's something they'll have to build from.
They were hoping that they could end the season with a win. Spring Lake Park, a team struggling as well, but they come up short against the Panthers, losing 49-40, 2-25, their final record for the regular season. Kaylee Porsche had 17 points to lead the Cardinals. Mackenzie Wilkins added 9. Cheyenne Siner 4. Hagstrom and Morehouse each had 3. Cardinals go into the playoffs as the number 8 seed. They face number 1 seed at Andover on Wednesday night at Andover. Number 2 seed is Blaine. They'll host Cambridge Isani. Anoka, the number 3 seed, gets St. Francis, and Forest Lake will get a visit from the Duluth East Greyhounds. And Howie, of course, we will be there.
We will be there
on Wednesday night. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Cardinal wrestling assistant coach Adam Tronson more about their fantastic season. Be right back.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
Oh, hi. I'm TV's Howie Shapiro. And when I'm not announcing CTN sports broadcasts with my sidekick Joe Yen, I'm watching all the other great programs on the CTN Studios YouTube page. There's news stories, great local events, and even full games. You can even watch on any smart device with a YouTube app. Whether that's your phone or a tablet, you can watch CTN's great programming wherever and whenever you want. You can even watch CTN's event coverage live. So no matter where you are, you can share in all the excitement. CTN Studios, building community through cable.
Welcome back to Sportsnight. At the top of the show, we talked about the amazing finish to the wrestling team season. 2 wrestlers finishing at 3rd place at the state tournament. We're joined now by assistant coach Adam Tronson. And Coach, first of all, congratulations on another great year for your program.
Thank you. We were real excited about the way we finished. We had 4 guys qualify out of a very tough Section 7 AAA. By the time the state tournament was over, Section 7 AAA scored the most points of any section. Just kind of shows how strong we are. Try to get ourselves through that section takes a lot. But the 4 guys that entered into the state tournament really wrestled well. We were real excited and looking forward to next season already.
Talk a little bit about, this program is successful year after year. How the younger kids and the program coming up, what does it look like for the next year to 2 in terms of Cardinal wrestling?
Well, I'll start with just the junior, sophomore, freshman class. Number of quality kids. And that's the thing about wrestling is you kind of have to get quality kids, but you got to get the right sizes. You got to have 200-pound guys, 150-pound guys, 100-pound guys. We're excited about the sophomore, junior, freshman class, but our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, we got some real quality young kids coming up, and a lot of that quality comes from the training they do in the spring, training they do in the summer. It's that additional work and that additional wrestling that we're excited about because they're doing the work. We think it's going to turn into something special here as the years come up.
Well, and we've talked about it for a number of years on the program about how you're continually able to rebuild in the wrestling program, and one of the things we think that's attributed to is the involvement that both yourself and head coach Bob Adams have with these kids going all the way down to 4 and 5-year-old kids getting in the wrestling room.
Yeah. We have a CRAA city program that we start all the way back in October. And from October till right around July, the end of July, we have practices. There's competitions that are available. With those competitions and practices, you can get a little guy who starts at 4 or even a kid who wants to start at 8th grade. He's going to have an opportunity to come in, practice, and get himself better.
I look at a kid like Bailey Ratliff, for example, who I think it was the Champlin, the match, he was his first match, a guy who can win an opportunity in a wrestle off during practice and be able to make that kind of contribution. I would imagine you see that a lot from a number of kids.
You do. You see a lot of kids who put the time in to earn that spot. And that's the thing about wrestling. You have to earn it. You got to put the time in. If you just walk in to the wrestling room and think, well, I'll win 25 matches, takes a lot of work in the off season, and we're excited to do that. But actually, I would like to take a moment and this past year, I thought about the amount of work that both of you gentlemen have done.
Oh, no.
And the contributions that you have given to not only the wrestling program, but to really all of the city of Coon Rapids and all the sports teams. So I nominated you guys for the Publicity Award. I'm going to show this right here as one example. It is in recognition from the Minnesota Wrestling Coaches Association. Howie Shapiro and Joe Yund have been given the Publicity Award from the Minnesota Wrestling Coaches Association. Wow. And so,
what an honor.
Guys, as a way
very
of
cool.
saying thank you for everything that you guys do, and it's not just the wrestling team, we're just the ones nominating you for this award. You guys do so much for every single sports team in this entire city. Keep doing what you're doing because we love you guys, man. You do so much.
Well, thank you. It is, and for it to come from the whole state is quite an honor. And it really it's hard to put into words. To receive awards for doing something you enjoy so much, it's just I guess it's icing on the cake because we do obviously we have a little bit of fun doing what we do up here. But back to you because you're the more important part of this. You did mention, you touched on the off-season work that goes into it, and I often talk to people in the community, and as many people on the show know, I coach hockey. My son's a hockey player. I hear a lot from people going, oh, hockey's so expensive. It's so time-consuming. And, it's always been my response, really, no matter what sport you decide to get into, if you get into it enough, it's time-consuming and it's expensive. And I think that the wrestling, a lot of people look at it and they go, oh, well, you just got to buy a singlet and some shoes, maybe some headgear. But these kids, a lot of these kids, the top-level kids, they're traveling all over the country in the summer, going to camps, going to tournaments, doing everything they can to get better.
Yeah. It is nice that wrestling, along with probably a few other sports, has a real low-cost start to it, but when you get an opportunity from the state of Minnesota, wrestle in a national tournament like we'll be in April, we're going down to Iowa. There is a regional national tournament in Las Vegas. That's an opportunity. There's a regional national tournament in Illinois, actually, and there's one in Wisconsin Dells. We're actually going to be sending some wrestlers to. Those opportunities need to happen. Otherwise, you're just facing the same kids over and over. It'd be like in the practice room. If you only went to practice every single day, man, it'd be tough to get better because you're seeing the same kids, seeing the same, looks is how we as coaches say it. So what's nice is to be able to provide those opportunities. And we've been very fortunate that the wrestling program's been able to provide some opportunities for our wrestlers to be able to travel, compete against the best in the nation. And we've grown. I think we've grown.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for this too. It's to echo what Joe said. We have so much fun doing this. One of the many things that I see with the wrestling program that's so impressive is the culture. And you look at alumni who come back and participate. You look at alumni who are on the staff. I mean, you guys have been able to develop the culture of this wrestling program that goes well beyond the high school level.
Yeah. If I'm going to talk about culture, I got to mention first off Bob Board. Bob Board and Marlon Highland created this thing way back in 1964, and they were in it for 37 years.
And they're still around.
They're still around.
Yeah, exactly.
They're still around. They show up for dual meets and practices and tournaments. Bob Adams, an alumni, has taken this and ran with it and continued to make it grow to an even higher level. Those guys have preached, and as I've been in the room for 16 years, the thing that I've heard over and over and over is give back to the sport. Give back. This sport has given you so much. Give back. Whether that be come to a match, just come and watch, or come to a practice and wrestle around with the guys. It's those opportunities that the alumni can come in and help another wrestler, and I think they get a lot out of it too. You can give back to a sport and a community that I think has given so much. And I tell you, I love seeing these guys. I love seeing them come back, and friends with a lot of these guys now as they've gotten older and they've become police officers and financial investors. And we have a doctor now in Sartell that he's a doctor in Scott Gorham.
Okay.
Yeah, he became a doctor here last year.
Great.
So
That's cool.
Yeah, just some really exciting things.
Yeah, and you talk about giving back to the sport, but it's always been my belief that we gain, through our athletic endeavors throughout high school, we gain so much more about ourselves. In my experience, it was team sports, about teamwork and all of those things. But what's always impressed me about wrestlers in particular is you have to give 100% of everything you've got every second you're on the mat.
Yeah.
You cannot be successful if you go out there and just, in a lot of sports, you can go out and you can kind of loaf a little bit and still be successful, and that can't happen on the wrestling mat. Talk about what these guys get out of wrestling, other than just the thrill of victory and those types of things.
Take a 15-year-old kid and have him plan out his week so that he's able to get his homework done, that he's able to make his practices, that he's able to make a weight class, and still be able to fulfill everything he needs to at home. Get that kid and then say, you have to go through a hour and 45-minute practice where we're gonna push your body, push your lungs. We're also going to put you in a situation where you may not win, where you're going to have to stand up, shake a gentleman's hand, and walk off the mat calmly, and then still go back the next week and try to do it again. I look at so many life lessons that a person can learn from coming into this sport and having to challenge themselves, overcome adversity, become dedicated to a cause, and then plan out and make sure that everything is set up. Time management, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. You get all of that and more. And I'll be very honest, not just from wrestling, but from any sport. If there's any high school kids out there listening, join a sport.
Absolutely.
Don't just go through your high school career and walk into school and walk out. Join a sport. You join a sport, you gain things for life, not just a medal. You gain so much.
And I think some of these, some kids may have a tendency to maybe take things for granted, but the fact that you've built such a winning program, it has to really excite the younger kids to say, you know what, when I'm in high school, I want to be a part of that, and that's a testament to you guys.
Well, thank you. We work very hard to try to build a program like everybody here in Coon Rapids is doing, is building a program that kids can get excited about. You start young, you work with those young kids, and you continue to develop them. You put them in the high school room around the high schoolers. I think that's one thing that we have tried to do a lot of, is have the high schoolers come in with these little guys on the wrestling mat. High schooler can show them a double leg or show them a half Nelson, and all of a sudden now it's like, he didn't just wrestle, he showed me something, and real exciting to be able to see those young kids light up.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe it is because of the continued success of the program, but when we started doing this way too many years ago that I want to admit, when we would go to Roger E. Carlson for basketball games, for just about any game, there were big crowds on hand, and now wrestling is the only program that is filling that venue consistently. What is it about the program that continues to draw in big numbers?
Well, we have alumni that are close by. We have been able to, I think, provide families with something that they can stand behind and be real proud of. And a little bit of luck, a little bit of luck. I mean, sometimes that's what really helps, is just getting lucky and having some kids that, have been family members. We get brother, like Michael Bothwell and his brothers Joey and Chris, and they're just one family of many families that have been out there. So a little bit of that too. It is something that I have not taken for granted, I'll tell you that much. It's nice, but I'll tell you, we'll be filling that field house soon. The other teams will. I know they will. We're building this thing up. Coon Rapids is we will be back up there. I know we will.
You talk about alumni. We've been fortunate to have Zahn Neighbor, the Golden Grappler, work with us and really teach us as we go a little bit about wrestling.
Yeah.
And so in all aspects, that this community has certainly the athletes come back to participate after they're done with high school.
Yeah, Zahn's done an amazing job, hasn't he?
Yep.
Guys, just great to have him. Great to have all of the alumni support. All the people who have been a part of this program have still they found a way to stay in touch, whether it be check a Facebook page or watch Sportsnight. Just being able to keep in contact and support our program and all the programs, it's been real nice. All
right. Well, Coach Stronson, want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you to you and to the Minnesota Wrestling Coaches Association for the award. And again, congratulations to you, your entire staff, and all the kids for another fantastic season. We look to continuing to watch you grow and succeed.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for everything. It is a well-deserved honor, and I think that I speak for a lot of people that well-deserved. Thank you.
We appreciate it, and like we said, we definitely enjoy it. But that's going to do it, right? That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. There you go. We got spring sports on the schedule. Girls basketball section playoff against Andover. That'll premiere at midnight because, of course, we can't show playoff contests live. But baseball, that will be live. Cardinals against Minnetonka on Wednesday the 8th, weather permitting. Girls lacrosse against Champlain Park. That'll be live at 6:30 because they play in the rain. As long as there's no thunder, they'll be playing, or lightning, whatever that stuff
thunder,
is.
lightning,
the stuff that'll actually make them stop playing.
The loud
That's
stuff.
going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Continue to support everything we do here at CTM. For the entire crew, including Howard Shapiro, I'm Joe Young saying good night.